My name is Danni Pomplun. I've been practicing yoga for about, I want to say like 12 years, but I could be lying. Maybe it's like 13 years. 12 or 13 years, we'll say. And I've been teaching yoga for about 5 years now.
Okay, my first question is simple but cruel to ask.
Okay.
What is yoga?
I guess in the historical sense, the word yog is to come together or to bring to the union, and it's a type of yoga. There's many different parts of it. It's a type of a Hindu religion, and then it breaks off into different pieces of it. I think what we call it in the West, or what we refer to as yoga now, is more like a physical, athletic-based practice. So there's two different ways to look at it.
But for you?
I think for me, oh man, such a loaded question. Yoga for me is not just a place that I go to physically, but a place that I go to mentally, where I feel at home, where it's consistent, where I know that no matter what I'm feeling physically or emotionally, I can always go into this place and it's safe and it's okay for me to be who I am there.
Can I say that it's a refuge, like
Yeah,
mental refuge?
totally, 100%.
Okay. Next question is, where is the knowledge about yoga coming from? There is so many different lineage that it's hard to understand where it's coming from.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the modern day like physical vinyasa or asana practice has really only been around for like 60 years max. And so, in my opinion, there's like a lot of different schools of yoga that have, started from one place, and two people really brought it into the United States, and then from there, all these little yoga schools started popping up and kind of making their own thing. So, although its origins are, set to be from India, it kind of really started to explode it into a million different things here in the Western culture.
Okay, and why do you think it? Speaking of Western culture, why do you think it became so popular like recent couple of decades here in the West?
I don't know. I don't really know. I guess for me, I can speak to like why it became popular for me or in my life was because I love sports and I've always been really athletic, and there was a lot of different things that I can do in yoga that had variations and modifications, and if I couldn't do one posture, there was always something else that I could do to get there. And it started for me to be really physical, but then after a while I started learning the mindfulness practice or the meditation practice of it, and so it started to get really, really deep for me after that. And now it's just it's like second nature. Like I don't envision my life without it.
Okay, and how did you start to practice? What brought you to a yoga studio?
Oh man, it was an accident. I did not want to do yoga. I was living in San Diego, and I had this roommate at the time who was like, "You should come to my yoga class." And I was like, "You're what?" And she was like, "You're my yoga class." And I'm like, what the heck is it? Like, what is that? And then I kind of did a little research on it, and I was like, I do not want to do that. She's like, come on, just try it out. And I was like, no, I'm good. And she's like, it's good for your surfing and for your running. And I was like, oh, well, if it's good for my surfing and my running, of course I want to be better at those things. So I went to my first class, and it was an Ashtanga class. And I remember for 2 days later, I could barely walk because my body was so sore. And I remember I was like, yeah, I want some more of that, whatever that was. I want to do that again, yeah. And then I would I would do it once every week, and then sometimes I would drop off and then start to do it again. And then when I turned 25, I was kind of having a darker time in my life, and one of my roommates at the time was like, well, why don't you do something healthy? And she's like, you used to do yoga, right? And I was like, kinda. She's like, well, why don't you just do yoga again? And then I kind of started and never really stopped.
So it was a good advice.
Yeah, it was great advice. Yeah.
Can you underline what major changes did yoga practice make to your life?
I think, being dedicated to something was really nice. I'd always had like these big grand ideas, but I would never follow through on anything. And I think knowing that I had to show up for my practice, not just for myself, but I had relationships with my teachers and my fellow students that I would we would go to classes together. I think it was nice to just have me get into the routine of something. And in addition to that, it brought me into a community where people were, more mindful. I was bartending at the time, and then coming from bartending to...
It's quite opposite.
Yeah, and it was just like I was having like different conversations, and people weren't just talking about how much they partied last week, but people were like, hey, we're gonna go like do stuff together at like the beach, or it was just a different lifestyle. And I think that's what really, I was more addicted to that than the actual like, sometimes I'd be in class and be like, why am I doing this? Like, this is awful. But I think the people just kept me there. Yeah.
And, what is still your biggest challenge as a yoga practitioner?
What's my biggest challenge as a yoga practitioner?
You don't have any?
No, I do. I think for me would be slowing down. I think I tell my students a lot to slow down, and in the physical sense, and I myself in the physical sense, like I'm a really fast-paced person. I'm like, all right, what's next? What's gonna happen? What are we doing? Like,
so it's basically patience.
Yeah, patience. Yeah. Sometimes walking into a class and knowing something's gonna happen, but I'm like, why isn't it happening now?
Same questions about challenge, but for a yoga teacher, for you as a yoga teacher.
What's challenging as a yoga teacher?
Yeah.
I don't know. Being a yoga teacher isn't really, I don't really find it challenging, and it's kind of, I don't know, it just seems like, it doesn't really seem like it's like work for me. It's just like something that's a part of my everyday life. I don't really, I mean, it's kind of a cop-out, but I work really hard. Maybe I work a lot. That's kind of a challenge.
It seems like you don't have any challenges as a yoga teacher.
I mean,
That's
like
great.
like the small stuff. Sometimes I'm tired going into a class, but like the first 5 minutes into it, I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'm not tired anymore. Like, I'm totally into this. But that's about, I mean, there's not really, if that's like the biggest challenge, I'm okay with it.
I guess that means you're in the right place in your life.
Yeah.
Just what's it like to be a yoga teacher in general?
Oh man, it's fun. Like any other job or career, it's pros and it's cons, and I think people go into teaching yoga thinking that they're gonna some people do anyway, like gonna make a ton of money, and I find that the complete opposite. Like, we don't get paid the best, but I mean, we do well. For me, I do well enough where I'm like comfortable, and I don't really need too much. And I don't know, like I really love what I do. I love that I get to interact with so many new students and so many new people, and that there is just a group of people that want to learn. And I think that's like the most rewarding part, is seeing people grow in their practice, or people grow in their personalities too. I think it's a really rewarding job for me. I don't even see it as a job, actually. It's like, it's just my thing. Like,
it's just your life.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, that's a great answer. Just last funny question. Your favorite asana?
My favorite asana? My favorite asana probably has to be child's pose, supported with bolsters. If you do like 2 bolsters underneath your thighs and then like 1 underneath the belly, and you're just like relaxing and taking a nap, it's the best. Yeah, it's awesome.
Okay, thank you, Danny.
Yeah.
Namaste.
Namaste, thank you.